What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and a $2,000 third stimulus check update and third stimulus package update, which has now officially been introduced by President-elect Joe Biden. We're going to go over the brand new details of what we know so far that is in this next stimulus package: stimulus checks, unemployment extension, unemployment update, mortgage and rental assistance. Yeah, there's a lot in this package. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new update videos, and hit the like button for us down below. All it does is tell YouTube that you appreciate our channel. Let me show you the important parts of Joe Biden's speech that regard to stimulus.
Millions of Americans never thought they'd be out of work. Many of them never even envisioned the idea, are facing eviction, waiting for hours in their cars to feed their families as they drive up to a food bank. Millions have kept their jobs but have seen their hours and paychecks reduced, barely hanging on as well. That's happening today in the United States of America. Just as in the midst of the dark winter of this pandemic, as cases, hospitalizations, and deaths spike at record levels, there is real pain overwhelming the real economy. One where people rely on paychecks, not their investments, to pay for their bills and their meals and their children's needs. Some 400,000 small businesses have permanently closed their doors. And it's not hard to see that we're in the middle of the once-in-several-generations economic crisis with a once-in-several-generations public health crisis. The crisis of deep human suffering is in plain sight, and there's no time to waste. We have to act, and we have to act now. This is what economists are telling us. More importantly, it's what the values we hold dear in our hearts as Americans are telling us. A growing chorus of top economists agree that in this moment of crisis, with interest rates at historic lows, we cannot afford inaction. It's not just that smart fiscal investments, including deficit spending, are more urgent than ever. It's that the return on these investments in jobs, racial equity, will prevent long-term economic damage, and the benefits will far surpass the cost.
This goes exactly with what I've said in the past, and even up to the most recent days, is that economists say that spending money now on stimulus, on the economy, on Americans, when we're in a time of need, once in a 100-year pandemic, will actually pay for itself by getting the economy back on track and out of this recession faster. If we get out of this recession faster by, say, 1 year, if we look back to the 08-09 recession, that took years to really come out of, depending on which indicator you're looking at. If we shorten this recession by even 1 year, that economists say it will pay for all the stimulus packages in its entirety, because you get back to normal faster, which generates more tax dollars, more revenue, more jobs, more everything faster, and that pays for the money that you're spending now to get Americans, and the economy out of the hole.
A growing number of top economists has shown even our debt situation will be more stable, not less stable, if we seize this moment with vision and purpose. And so tonight, I'd like to talk to you about our way forward. A two-step plan of rescue and recovery. A two-step plan to build a bridge to the other side of the crisis we face, to a better, stronger, more secure America. Tonight, I'll lay out my first step, the American Rescue Plan, that will tackle the pandemic and get direct financial assistance and relief to Americans who need it the most. Next month, my first appearance before a joint session of Congress, I will lay out my Build Back Better recovery plan. It'll make historic investments in infrastructure, that Build Back Better plan.
That's
infrastructure, manufacturing, innovation, research and development, and clean energy. investments in a caregiving economy and in skills and training needed by our workers to be able to compete and win in the global economy.
So real quick here, Joe Biden's talking about two actual different plans or packages or stimulus plan. One is the $1.9 trillion stimulus package that he basically is unveiling today. And then another one coming next month in February, which is called the infrastructure plan, which is kind of the same thing, just focuses on different things in that package with another round of possible stimulus. Multiple different stimulus things probably will be in there, just depending on what is needed at that time.
As I said when it passed in December, the bipartisan COVID-19 relief package was a very important first step. And I'm grateful for the Democrats, Republicans, and independent members of Congress who came together to get it done. But I said at the time, it's just a down payment. We need more action, more bipartisanship, and we need to move quickly. We need to move fast. Our rescue plan starts aggressively in order to speed up our national COVID-19 response. The vaccines offer so much hope, and we're grateful to the scientists and researchers and everyone who participated in the clinical trials. We're also grateful for the rigorous review and testing that has led to millions of people around the world already being vaccinated safely. But the vaccine rollout in the United States has been a dismal failure thus far. Tomorrow, I will lay out our vaccination plan to correct course and meet our goal of 100 million shots at the end of my first 100 days as president.
That's a lot.
This will be one of the most challenging operational efforts we have ever undertaken as a nation. We'll have to move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated, to create more places for them to get vaccinated, to mobilize more medical teams to get shots in people's arms, to increase vaccine supply, and to get it out the door as fast as possible. We'll also do everything we can to keep our educators and students safe, to safely reopen a majority of our K-8 schools by the end of the first 100 days. Our rescue plan also includes immediate relief to Americans hardest hit and most in need. We will finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in cash relief to people who need it the most. The $600 already appropriated is simply not enough. You just have to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. Even for those who've kept their jobs, these checks are really important. You see, if you're an American worker making $40,000 a year with less than $400 in savings, maybe you've lost hours, or maybe you're doing fewer shifts, driving a truck or caring for the kids or the elderly. You're out there putting your life on the line to work during this pandemic and worried every week that you'll get sick, lose your job, or worse. $2,000 is going to go a long way to ease that pain. We'll also provide more peace of mind for struggling families by extending unemployment insurance beyond the end of March for millions of workers. That means that 18 million Americans currently relying on unemployment benefits while they look for work can count on these checks continuing to be there. Plus, there will be a $400 per week supplement so people can make ends meet. This gets money quickly into the pockets of millions of Americans who will spend it immediately on food and rent and other basic needs. As the economists tell us, that helps the whole economy grow. We'll also tackle the growing hunger crisis in America. As I speak, and the Vice President-elect has spoken to this many times, 1 in 7 households in America, more than 1 in 5 Black and Latino households in America, report they don't have enough food to eat. This includes 30 million adults and as many as 12 million children. It's wrong. It's tragic. It's unnecessary. It's unacceptable. So we're going to extend emergency nutritional assistance for 43 million children and their families enrolled in the SNAP program through the rest of this year. We'll help hard-hit restaurants prepare meals for the hungry provide food for the families who need it. We will invest $3 billion in making sure mothers and their young children have the nutrition they need. This will not only meet our moral obligation we have to one another, but will also spur our economic growth, get restaurants and workers back on the job. And as we work to keep people from going hungry, we'll also work to keep a roof over their heads, to stem the growing housing crisis and evictions that are looming. Approximately 14 million Americans are falling behind on rent, many at risk of eviction. If we don't act now, there'll be a wave of evictions and foreclosures in the coming months as the pandemic rages on. This would overwhelm emergency shelters, increase COVID-19 infections as people have nowhere to go and can't socially distance. Next week, we'll take action to extend nationwide restrictions on evictions and foreclosures. This will provide more than 25 million Americans greater stability instead of living on the edge every single month.
That's probably through an executive order.
I'm asking Congress to do its part by funding rental assistance for 14 million hard-hit families and tenants. It will also be a bridged economic recovery for countless mom-and-pop landlords. These crises are straining the budgets of states and cities and tribal communities that are forced to consider layoff and service restrictions of the most needed workers. It means that people putting their lives at risk are the very people now at risk of losing their jobs.
Okay, so let's talk about some more of the details of what we know is going to be in this $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Now, remember, he said there's the infrastructure package, which is an additional package, is going to be coming in February, which is at this point only about 2 weeks away. Okay, the plan calls for another round of stimulus checks, $1,400 per person to eligible recipients. This money would be in addition to the $600 second stimulus check payments that a lot of you guys have just recently received or are still waiting on, for a total of $2,000. So this is what we call the $2,000 plus up bill. It's $1,400 plus the $600 that you may have just gotten or are still waiting on, for a total of $2,000. The new payments would go to adult dependents that were left out of the earlier rounds. Okay, so that's very important. And again, this is just, dare I say, preliminary data. Okay, we don't have the bill just yet. Okay, but you notice here the new payments would go to adult dependents that were left out of earlier rounds. Now, we don't know if it'll be $1,400 for adult dependents or the total of $2,000, because they did not get the second round, like some children of age 17. It would also include households with mixed immigration status after the first round of $1,200 stimulus checks left out the spouses of undocumented immigrants who do not have Social Security numbers. So if the spouse has a Social Security number, they will receive the check this time around. Okay. Now, I want to say we don't really know a lot more details on that yet. I will be having more on all of this stuff. I mean, there's a lot in this package. It's $1.9 trillion. We'll go over the rest here in a second. Child support we don't know about yet. I believe the children are included. So children at this point, it looks like, will be receiving an additional $1,400, and for adults, and at least this article from CNN says that adult dependents will be getting it. This is not set in stone yet, okay? So I will be keeping you guys updated. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell icon on so you get notifications. New videos come out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. every single day, and sometimes at 11 p.m., which is what this video is. Okay, next up, enhanced unemployment aid. This is the unemployment extension or the unemployment boost. Biden will increase the federal boost to $400 per week from the $300 per week unemployment boost that is going on right now. This is expected to kick in the middle of March when the $300 ends. When the $300 ends, then it'll bump up to $400 at that point. He will also extend the payments along with two key pandemic unemployment programs through September. This is the PEUC and the PUA, which is basically for unemployed workers and gig workers and self-employed people. Rental assistance. This plan would provide an additional $25 billion in rental assistance, and another $5 billion will be set aside to help struggling renters to pay their utility bills. Okay, so we have $30 billion in rental assistance and utility assistance here. This is in addition to the $25 billion that was sent or that was in the second stimulus check package but has not gone out yet. So in total, there's going to be 25 billion, then another 25 billion, and then 5 billion for utility bill assistance. I will be helping you guys claim that money when all that money becomes available. Also, he wants to extend the federal eviction moratorium and possibly student loan payments, but he could do that through a presidential executive order on the day of his inauguration or the next day. Help for the hungry. Biden will extend the 15% increase in food stamp benefits through September 30th. September 30th is when the government 1 year budget goes until. That's when the government shutdown will happen if they don't pass a new budget. So a lot of these things go until September 30th. It's just kind of their uniform number. More money for child care and child care tax credit. The plan has $25 billion to create an emergency fund and $15 billion to an existing grant program to help child care providers, including family child care homes, to pay for rent, utility, and payroll and protective equipment. It also expands the child care tax credit for 1 year, so families will get back as much as half of their spending on child care for children under the age of 13. Next up, an increase in child tax credits. He wants to boost the child tax credit to $3,600. These are refundable tax credits. I'll tell you about that here in a second. For children under the age of 6. So for any children that are under the age of 6, you would get a $3,600 tax refundable tax credit on your taxes, and $3,000 for any children that are between the ages of 6 and 17. He also proposes to raise the maximum earned income tax credit for a year to close to $1,500 for childless adults. So that's an additional tax refund for adults without children, and increase the income limit for the credit to about $21,000 and expand the age range of eligibility to cover older workers. So we'll be talking about this more in the upcoming days, but basically it's more of a tax credit for you if you have children, or even as you've seen there, if you don't have children. So basically more tax credits for everybody around the board, which is refundable too, which basically means you'll be getting extra stimulus money in your tax refund for when you do your taxes. So instead of, say, let's just say you normally get $1,000 tax refund, you might get several $1,000 tax refunds now because of this. Okay, we also have subsidies for health insurance premiums. He wants to increase the Affordable Care Act's premium subsidies so enrollees don't have to pay more than 8.5% of their income for coverage. Restoration of emergency paid sick leave. The plan would reinstate the paid sick and family leave benefits that expired at the end of December until September 30th, and it will also extend benefit to workers employed at businesses with more than 500 employees and less than 50, as well as federal workers who were excluded from the original program. Under this new proposal, people who are sick or quarantining or caring for a child whose school is closed will receive 14 weeks of paid leave. That's pretty cool. More assistances for small businesses, $15 billion for a new grant program for small businesses separate from the PPP. It'll be interesting to see how that works, as well as $35 billion investment in some state, local, and financing programs to provide venture capital for entrepreneurs. That's pretty cool. Uh, $350 billion for state and local governments. Some of this money will come back around to you guys in another round of mortgage and rental assistance. Of course, that'll be later on. I'll walk you guys through that in a month or two when that comes around. increased support for vaccines, and a $15 minimum wage from Congress. So this would be for all 50 states. We don't know yet if this is a step up thing that might happen gradually over the course of like 3 years, or if this will be immediate, that like immediately will be $15 per hour minimum wage across the United States. Okay, a couple things that noticeably were not included. I'm sure there's a lot of things. First thing to need to note here, this is not an actual bill. If you notice, I'm not reading you an actual bill. I don't have a bill that's 5,000 pages yet because there is no bill yet. Okay, this is the stimulus package from Biden, but we don't have an actual bill yet. So all this is subject to change. Biden is going to be pushing for Republican support, so he may negotiate a little bit. He may throw liability protections in there for Republicans. And then, when Republicans want that, he say, okay, I'll give you that if you give me this. And noticeably, the couple things I noticed that were not in there was the $200 per month Social Security, SSDI, railroad benefits was not mentioned in there yet. Again, when we get the actual bill, we'll know more about this. So we have not seen any mention of that. That also could be coming in next month's bill, the infrastructure bill. Social Security is probably considered infrastructure for the people. The other thing in there was student loan forgiveness. We know that both the Social Security and the student loan forgiveness are literally on joebiden.com under his economic plan. You can read them both right there. And I have with you guys over the past few days. I've shown you both of those clauses if you remember, if you've been watching those videos. We didn't hear anything about student loan forgiveness or about Social Security increase of $200 per month, even though it is on joebiden.com and his official website and his economic plan. We didn't hear anything about that. Again, we don't have an actual bill to go through this, so maybe it fell through the cracks. Maybe it's not in this bill. Maybe it will be in the next bill. Maybe this will be done through executive orders as soon as Joe Biden, the administration has already said that they are going to do several executive orders as soon as he comes in to presidency. This is kind of a normal thing. Generally, when a new president comes in, and it's kind of a changing of the guard. We're going from this time from Republican to Democrat. You normally see a bunch of executive orders in there. Now, if you're going from, like, say, a Republican president to another Republican president, you don't normally sometimes see that because it's kind of the same agenda when you're not switching parties. But we are expecting to see multiple executive orders from Joe Biden either on inauguration day, which I expect would be a pretty busy day. So I don't know if it'll happen on that day or the next day. So I will be keeping you updated with that and this stimulus package and the details when they come out. I will have a new video for you guys at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. New videos come out at every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And probably for the next few days, because there'll be so much breaking new news on this stimulus package, 11 p.m. bonus videos, which is what tonight's is. So make sure you subscribe down below and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos and you get notifications. And share this video so others like you will know what is going to be in the next stimulus package and when to expect the next stimulus check. I will keep you updated on all of this. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.